This man is the best Knicks player since Patrick Ewing. No, I'm not exaggerating in the least. Jalen Brunson has managed to conquer the mecca of basketball with his game. The city of New York is surrendered at the feet of a player who's led the Knicks to their best situation in the last 25 years. For the second consecutive year, New York's won the first round of the playoffs, something that only happened once in the entire Carmelo Anthony era. And now we have to give Jalen the credit he deserves. But how's that possible? How's it possible that an undersized guard has become such a spectacular talent in the era of the big men we're living in? Well, the answer has more depth than it seems. What is clear, however, is that Brunson has become one of the most valuable assets in the entire league. Every GM's pulling their hair out after his contract signed in free agency has become a real bargain. But really, why is Brunson such a special player? Let's talk about it. First of all, it's impossible to talk about Jalen Brunson without talking about his father. Rick Brunson was a father figure who introduced him to the values of basketball and who was always attentive to his development. But the life of an NBA player's family is never easy. Rick was a journeyman who played 9 seasons in the league, and during those 9 seasons he played for 8 different teams. Those teams? The Blazers, Clippers, Knicks, Bulls, Rockets, Celtics, Sonics, Raptors, and the Brunson family had to move 7 times before settling in Chicago. Jalen was born in New Jersey, but he traveled practically all over the country to end up succeeding next to his hometown. It's crazy how life goes, right? When the family settled in Chicago, Jalen attended Stevenson High School, where he became the team's absolute superstar. In his junior year, he averaged 26.1 points, 5.4 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 2.9 steals for a team that finished the season with a 32-2 record. And his competition wasn't just anyone. During his high school career, Jalen faced some of the best prospects in the country. Jabari Parker, who was later drafted 2nd overall in 2014, Kendrick Nunn, Jahlil Okafor, who was later drafted 3rd overall in 2015, Tyler Ellis. Brunson stood out against great talent, and that moved him up the recruitment charts. In fact, Brunson was considered a 5-star prospect by Scout, Rivals, and ESPN, which also gave him a 90 out of 100 grade. Essentially because he was also capable of running an entire offense. In fact, he was the only player in the top 25 who played point guard. After receiving offers from prestigious colleges such as Illinois, Kansas, Michigan, Michigan State, Temple, and UConn, Jalen decided on the Villanova offer, and time proved it was a good decision. In college, Brunson not only offered a performance that was improving by leaps and bounds in every one of the 3 seasons he spent there, but there he created a powerhouse that managed to win 2 NCAA championships. Really, winning the NCAA tournament twice is something that very few basketball players can boast about. However, in 2016 and 2018, Brunson helped Villanova to glory. That's also the time when he met Josh Hart, who was his college teammate for 2 seasons, and with whom he captured the 2016 title, and Donte DiVincenzo, with whom he coincided in his 3 seasons at Villanova, and with whom he won both titles. What they didn't know is that fate would bring them together once again. Despite being a 5-star recruit, Jalen wasn't one of the most highly rated guards in the draft. In fact, when he entered the draft, some mocks had him going in the 2nd round. But that didn't stop the dreams of the undersized guard, who, despite his 6'2" frame, knew he'd find his place in the league. The Dallas Mavericks of Mark Cuban and Luka Doncic trusted him. With the 3rd pick of the 2018 2nd round, or the 33rd pick, the Mavs selected Brunson and he moved to Texas to begin his NBA career. In fact, Dallas picked Brunson and Luka during the very same draft night. However, as with any 2nd-round pick, expectations for Brunson were not very high. In fact, first and foremost, he'd have to earn his place in Rick Carlisle's rotations. Fortunately, it didn't take long for the coach to realize the 22-year-old guard's great potential. Brunson would average 21.8 minutes per game in his rookie season, averaging 9.3 points and 3.2 assists per night. But before exploding as a player, he suffered a sophomore slump in the bubble season. That season, he only played 18 minutes per game. But yeah, everything was about to change. In his 3rd season in the league, Jalen gave notice of his future explosion. He finished 4th in the 6th Man of the Year race, and his 52% field goal shooting and 40% three-point shooting percentages made him one of the most efficient guards in the NBA. The following season, he exploded even more, averaging 16 points and 5 assists per night during the regular season, but more importantly, he raised those averages to 21.6 points per game in the 18 games he played in those playoffs. That's when he made the best decision of his career. Advised by Rick Brunson, who worked for the Knicks, New York made a tempting offer to a player in full ascending progression. An offer of $104 million for 4 seasons that Cuban decided not to match. At the time, it looked like the Knicks had gone crazy for an undersized scoring guard. It seemed that this contract would weigh the team down for the next few seasons. But nothing could be further from the truth. Jalen Brunson's contract is literally the best in the league today. It's not just because he's probably the best guard in the entire Eastern Conference. If he was just an all-star, his contract would still be a bargain. I mean, the man's making just a few million above the average NBA starter salary at $26 million a year, and his performance is of that of a historical player. This season, Brunson's averaged nearly 29 points and 7 assists per game on 48% shooting from the field and 40% on three-pointers. With a 59.2% true shooting percentage, Brunson's the 7th most efficient guard in the NBA, behind only Conley, Luka, Steph, Kyrie, Halliburton, and Holiday. But his volume without Julius Randle is outpacing all of these players. This man just destroyed the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round by averaging 35.5 points per game. Brunson's not only capable of being one of the most consistent point guards in the league, not only is he able to go out every night and help the team win, he's also capable of performing at his best in those most important moments. This is the 3rd consecutive season that Jalen's been able to increase his regular season averages in the playoffs. Last season from 24.1 to 27.8, and the season before that from 16.3 to 21.6. Also, I've said it before, but it needs to be emphasized, the Knicks are playing without their second best player. All-star forward Julius Randle, who by the way is getting paid $30 million a year, has had a lot of trouble with his shoulder. Without his production, Brunson has the entire weight of the offense on his back, but he doesn't seem to care. He's carrying the team and has a good chance of making the conference finals with a rotation that's basically made up of 7 players. Plus, you gotta give Tibbs his flowers too. His ball handling, his ability to shoot from anywhere above the average, his ability to go to the free throw line, his ability to score from any of the 3 levels, there are many aspects that make Brunson a spectacular scorer. But it's his mentality and his ability to withstand the enormous pressure that a big market like New York puts on his shoulders that make him, well, him. Jalen is the best Knicks player since Patrick Ewing, and that's it. I don't say this to throw shade at Carmelo, who was one of the best scorers in his generation, no question about it. But I say it to make us realize that Brunson's a unique guard in the league. The best news is that he's only 27 years old and the best part of his career is yet to come. And Tom Thibodeau's done it again. With the Villanova guys in his schemes, the coaches turned the Knicks into an impenetrable fortress. The teams hustle on defense. When it comes to rebounding, when it comes to fighting for loose balls, it's just impressive. Tibbs' imprint is present in every detail of the team's game. But this system would be completely unfeasible without a player capable of running the offense at an elite level. Like Allen Iverson on the Sixers, the Knicks have decided to surround their star with elite defensive players, or at least elite two-way players. And so far, it's working perfectly. So well, in fact, that Mark Cuban is probably still suffering from nightmares at night. Yeah, dude, you definitely should have paid that man.